A third type of loop is the results controlled loop, where the loop runs until a certain result has been achieved. For example, you might have a savings account with a balance and you want to see how long it's going to take that balance to get to a certain amount given a certain interest rate. And that's the example I'm going to use to demonstrate the results-oriented loop. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start out with a variable called balance, which we'll set to $5,000 or 5,000. We'll have another variable called rate, which will be our interest rate, and we'll set it at 2%. Then we're going to have a variable called years, and it's going to tell us how long it's going to take us to get to the result we're trying to achieve. Now we're ready to write the loop where we actually specify the result we're looking for. So we're going to say y balance is less than or equal to, let's say $100,000. Increase the balance by the balance times equals rate plus years, and that's all we have to do. Now we're going to display our result. Years to reach 100,000. All right, let's go ahead and run the program, then I'll come back and describe how it works. So we'll save the file, bring our DOS prompt up. Let's clear the screen. Javac chap9.java, and then Java chap9 part 4. And at 2% compounded annually, simple interest, it will take 152 years for 5,000 to reach 100,000, given that we're not adding any into the balance, new money into the balance. So you see how this works. We start out with a result in mind, 100,000, and we're saying while the balance is less than or equal to that, then compound the interest, add it to the balance, and then increment years by 1. Let's go over the steps of the loop. The first step is to initialize or declare and initialize a loop control variable. That's going to be balance, which we set to 5,000. The second step is to provide a relational expression. Here we have balance less than or equal to $100,000 with our loop control variable. Third step is to process whatever it is we need to process. In this case, we're going to multiply the balance times the interest rate, then add that back to the balance. And that's also our fourth step, which is to modify the loop control variable in some way to make the relational expression eventually become false. So here we're increasing balance so that at some point in time, or as we found out 152 years, given a 2% interest rate, balance will become equal to or greater than $100,000. And then finally, we increment years. That's almost a side effect of the program, although it's what we're really interested in, is how long is it going to take. But the control of the loop is all based on balance and when it reaches $100,000. So that's how a result-controlled loop works, and that's going to wrap up our discussion of while loops for this chapter. And now we're going to move to a different type of loop, the for loop, which is always a count-controlled loop. We use it whenever we want to loop over a set of statements a given number of times, and we'll see that in the next lesson.